So yeah, then I started pushing, and I wasn't completely numb because I felt his head come out.
Yikes.
Yep. I could
Was it
feel
like
it.
a big turd? Is that what it feels like?
I don't even.
Like when you when you feel the turd just cresting your a-hole. Is that what it feels like, but in the vagina?
Well, things are tearing. I could feel that too.
Oh so my god! I can feel my butthole tear when I have a big log, so I know what that feels like. Just not 8 inches of head.
Yeah. But like, what's different is like a poop, like comes out, right? Like it's not like the slow like progression.
Oh,
it's like
I've had the slow progression.
Well, yes, but it's not.
No, I get it.
It's peristalsis. So it's I know your body's kind of doing that too. It's helping you like push the baby out also, but it's different. So yeah, I could literally feel, which was kind of a cool experience, I will say, to feel that, not great, but also kind of like looking back on it, it's like, oh, that was, cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Because you could feel, yes.
Nature. Bam, 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 bam. This is a special edition of the Unscripted Conversations podcast. My name is Jay.
And I'm Molly.
And say hi, little Griffin.
I'm Griffin.
We have a special guest with us. This is the first time we actually have a guest on the podcast, and it is our son, our second born. His name is Griffin, and he's sleeping right now, and he is the most chill baby. We're going to touch on like how this baby stacks up against crazy. Conrad, because there's major differences. Yeah, but let's kind of get back into the groove of things. This is our Christmas weekend podcast episode. So this is the Saturday before Christmas. So,
holidays.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, everything. If you don't celebrate Christmas, have a happy Saturday. But this is our Christmas episode. We're going to touch on everything that's happened since the last episode, which is before Molly gave birth. Probably talk about our hospital experience this time around, how the birth went, how the last week went, and just kind of flood your minds with the gift that we got in Griffin this year. So,
cool.
Let's kind of start off with our game again, because we always have to do this hooga. Is it hooga? Hooga. That doesn't sound right. Hooga. I think it's hooga.
Hooga. Okay.
Ooh, this is a good one. Quite pertinent. What would you do if you found out your child was being bullied at school?
Ooh, kill them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'd freaking go punk the kid.
See?
I want to kill him. Now you went on record saying you would probably do that.
Oh my gosh, no. I would not hurt a child, but I would want to.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie. I would, someone's hurting my child, I'm going to want to hurt them, not in a malicious way, but...
Yeah, I'll punk them.
Yeah.
I'd punk them.
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's a discussion with the child, our child that's being bullied, and how to help them cope with it. Oh, I read something that helped somebody who was being bullied, and it's something about like looking at like why they're bullying you and what they're bullying you about, and usually it's because it's like what they're lacking.
Oh,
so like if they're bullying you about your hair or like your body or something, it's because it's something they're lacking, and that really helped the child. Like even though it still sucked being bullied, they knew that the child who was bullying them was having a harder time than they were actually experiencing with the bullying, and that really helped like flip the perspective. So I think like having that discussion with our child, Conrad or Griffin or whoever, to try to make them understand maybe why that kid is bullying, because usually it is just an outlet. It's because something else is bothering them at home, or
or
that
in their life.
Yep, exactly.
Maybe they're being bullied themselves, and then they have to take it out on another kid who's smaller or more vulnerable than they think they are.
Yeah. So I think I would, as much as I'd want to get back at the kid, I think trying to
it goes
both
way. Sides. Like help our kid, but also try to do something with the other kid. I'd bully him, whatever. I'll go on record. If you had to choose, would you rather sit or stand for the rest of your life?
Ooh, with how much I've been sitting lately and, and taking care of this kid, probably stand right now.
I would probably say, well, if you think about it, if you would say sit, that means that...
My butt hurts.
No, like let's say you're paralyzed, then you're confined to a wheelchair, so
Yeah.
you're sitting the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Standing though, what would that be equivalent to if somebody had to stand? Maybe they just had like fused bones in their legs. They can't stand.
Can't sit, you mean?
Or can't sit.
You can still sit like that, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably would sit.
Really?
But it'd be a reason why I would sit.
Yeah.
Like, I can't feel my legs.
Yeah, you can't stand.
You can't stand, yeah.
That's not the question, though, but that's fine.
I know. Well,
okay.
I altered it. What is the best motivator? Fear, money, or love?
The best motivator. Fear, money, or love?
Ooh, that's a good question. Fear, money, or love?
I would say money. Not like me personally, but I think like motivator, in general.
Money.
For most people, money is the best motivator.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say money too. Yeah, because I mean if you had if the end goal was receiving money, most people would do that, especially in the times we're living in right now.
Right.
Love only in certain circumstances, like if you were looking for a partner or if you was seeking some sort of validation.
But I think you could take that too, like in a different sense. I'm trying to think, like in like a game show, like if it was either I had to jump off a cliff and there was nothing, I was safe, right?
Yeah.
Or you express your love for me or something, or like show your love somehow or whatever. Love is still a motivator, and that's why I didn't have to do like my biggest fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
true.
what I'm trying to say is like,
which one's the most though?
Still money. Yeah.
I think there's a
maybe
saying,
fear a little bit too, but if it was,
I would think love is the last thing.
Yes.
Out of those three.
Yes.
I heard something that say money can't buy happiness. But those who don't have money don't understand what happiness is like with money. So I was like, oh, like that's kind of rude and like snooty-ish. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, if you had money, you would kind of understand a little bit more. But I guess the people who don't have money, they find their happiness and love through other avenues that money can't buy. But still, though, money still drives people's happiness. It's nice to have a roof over our head. It's nice to have food on the table. It's nice to have a car to drive, and things in order to have those things, you need to have money. So yes, I think money does some way drive happiness.
Drive happiness, yes. But
it can definitely.
But you can create your own happiness.
True.
You don't need
if you
money.
If you don't know what it's like to have money. For instance, like the pygmies in the rainforest, they don't know the modern conveniences of a cell phone, of a car, of shoes even. They don't know that, and so they're content with walking with bare feet. They're content with walking miles and miles and miles to get from one place, from A to B. They don't know the convenience of cars, so their naivety is their happiness in a sense where they don't understand other modes of living. Whereas opposed to, let's say, somebody who's living on the underpass in Milwaukee, in the wintertime, they don't have a roof over their head. They may not have food on their table, which is something that they probably would want. And the only way to get that is through money. And if they had the money, they'd have a roof. They'd be happy. They wouldn't be living on the streets underneath a overpass.
But some people who are living on the streets are happy there.
With some.
There are some people who choose to be homeless or be in that situation.
Yeah.
That's a choice, and that's their happiness. And same with.
But what
are these pygmies?
Yeah, they're just other like small.
I thought you were saying pygmy puffs from Harry Potter, and I was so confused. I was like,
no, like the
what?
pygmy Indians.
that you don't know that if you offered them all this stuff and offered them all this money and said you can live like a king, that would make them happy.
It would give them some happiness, probably more than what they're experiencing.
You don't know that. I don't think so, because that's all they know, right?
I don't think that's all they know, because they had come from some form of more privilege than before they were in this situation with now they're homeless. I don't know
who these people are, so I can't.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that if we drove to downtown Milwaukee right now and went and offered somebody, let's say, hey, I got you an apartment, you got a food stamps and you got a WIC card for the whole year, they're probably going to take that over, I'm going to stay under this underpass because this brings me happy.
But I'm just saying it doesn't always have to be money buys you happiness, though.
I know, but most people, like I said, most people in those circumstances have already lived some sort of life where they did have a roof over the head. Maybe they cheated, or maybe they had mental disorders and then they got kicked out of their home, or they were bouncing around, druggies from drug house to drug house, and now they got kicked out and now they're on the streets. So they did experience a convenience of a roof, of food, maybe of transportation. Maybe they had a car, maybe they wrecked it. Now they don't have a car payment, or maybe now they have to go on public transportation like bus or whatever, walking. So I would say most, if not all, homeless people had experienced what privilege was like, having a roof, food, transportation, and now they don't. And if you went back and offered that to them, I'm pretty sure, I believe, most, if not all, homeless people will take that and be like, yes, I would much rather have that, even if it's for a day, than in my current situation right now. So in a sense, yes, money and privilege does give somebody happiness, or at least stability, that puts them in a better emotional and mental state than what they currently are in, which is, unfortunately, homeless without a roof over the head. You know what I mean? I do understand that there are these tent villages where people are just like, this is my people now, this is my family because we're going through this hardship together. But I can almost guarantee when you take them out of that situation and put them in a more fortunate situation, they'd probably be a lot more happier than in their current state. Would you disagree?
No, I just think you're putting a lot of emphasis on money as the key to happiness, and I don't think it always is. In this situation, yes, I agree with you. I know what you're saying. I'm just saying you also create your own happiness, and it doesn't have to be by buying the most expensive things or having the most expensive things, or
it doesn't have to be the most expensive things.
I know, but
though.
I'm just trying to make a point.
Yeah, I think the point you're trying to make is that people with too much money, they may not be happy.
And there's plenty of people, and you see that all over the news.
Yeah.
Almost every month, one of these famous people are killing themselves, whether it's because of drugs and it was unintentional or it was intentional.
For sure, yeah.
And you would think that they should be the happiest people on earth, right? They have millions of dollars.
There's something
so money
more
didn't
underlying.
buy them happiness.
It didn't. Too much money didn't buy them happiness. They did show, and I don't know where I read this. They said that there is a threshold where money does buy happiness up to a certain point, and then if you make more than this certain amount of money,
when it provides for you,
when
your
it
basic
provides
needs, probably, which is your argument, and my argument
sure.
is I don't think you need all that money all the time. Is it nice? Absolutely. I'm not saying it's not. If you want to give me $1 million, I'm going to happily take it. I'm not saying that at all.
I think $1 million would definitely get rid of our student loans, and we'd be so much damn happier without that looming over our heads.
But I'm just saying that for some people, it's not all that it's cracked up to be, or it's not all that they need, because they have the people, they have just a house, and they're able to eat and whatever, and that's enough for them.
Yeah, I want to see if anybody's willing to go through a social experiment where they take a rich person and put them in a situation where they don't have that money for like a period of time, and then take somebody who doesn't have money and then put them in that person's situation for a certain period of time. I think people would learn a lot about each other in that social experiment.
Absolutely.
The outcome of that would kind of be a little bit sus, because I don't think you can control like the narrative with that. For instance, if like you took Jeff Bezos and said, "Hey, go live in the slums and you can live off of $100 a month of like food or rent or whatever," like one, he'd probably be like, "Oh, I'm going to get out of this in a month." You know, like if the social experiment was only a month, I'm going to get out of this for a month. So I'm just going to endure it for a month.
Yeah.
So I think you can't really like...
I think it would be more of like living paycheck to paycheck, making someone live paycheck to paycheck, and really being aware of what they're spending their money on and
True.
And things like that. But yeah, I know. But it would be interesting. I think it would still give them a good perspective.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Speaking about perspective, when we're in the hospital, there was a lady that was walking in the hallway. I don't know if she was like, she probably might have been like a mom or maybe like a sibling or somebody of a pregnant lady that was in there. And remember, it was super cold the day we went in.
Yeah.
She didn't have like anything but like a I don't know if it's Nike, but like a Nike dry fit.
Yeah.
Long sleeve, and then like pajama pants. And it looked like she came from outside because she had like a bag and like stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how you freaking, you must be freezing. Yeah. Because I went outside. That was when I was, that was the day you gave birth. It was in the afternoon when I went to go get lunch when you're getting the epidural.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like it's freaking cold outside. And she didn't have any trace of like a coat or anything. And I was like, oh man, like I don't know if I could like help that situation, but I was just like, oh man, like this is a little bit like out there for me to see. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because having a baby ain't cheap, right? Yeah. So I was like, man, they're having a baby, or whoever she's came to visit, because she had a visitor tag. They're having a baby. Like, I hope that that kid's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, I don't know, remember when we're driving on Mayfair and there was like a sign on a bus that said like, you can drop your kid, like your baby off here. I was like, what? There's stuff like this? Yes. People just like dropping their kids off. Now, I don't know the situations of why, mother would do that, but I was just like, oh man, I hope that that family is going to be okay. Yeah. Especially because it's like Christmas. Right. It's around this time. So, but anyways, yeah, good conversation about money, because the money drives everything.
Money drives everything.
So we have a newborn. His name is Griffin. He is a week old as of this podcast, probably 2 weeks old by the time this airs. Yeah. But I guess I'll let you take the floor and give us a little update on everything that happened in the last week. I guess starting off from the day
I gave birth.
You gave birth. Yeah.
I gave birth. We brought him home the next day, and now no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I think like just a little disclaimer, if you do have any like horrible birthing stories or just don't like listening to birthing stories, then this is probably not the rest of the conversation you want to listen to. I know a lot of people have very sensitive experiences, and I have always been have been up until now, knock on wood, fortunate that my pregnancies and labors have been good and I will say easy. But I know not everyone's experience is that, so I'm not trying to rub it in or anything. We're just talking about our experience, and if this is just not something you want to listen to because it's, too triggering, totally understand, but this is kind of your warning now, is probably maybe skip this episode. So leading up to like the last month, I would say, like when I would go in and get checked, like things were moving along, but not really moving along. People are always asking me like, are you having contractions? Are you, anything? And I never had contractions with this baby or the baby before Conrad. The first baby, so I was like, I always am questioning, like, oh, is that going to be it? Oh, is that going to be it? And even though, like, during labor I had contractions, it's still, like, you almost forget about it the day after, like, what that's like, because you have this new baby and stuff. So I still was always like, I don't know, is this it? So every once in a while I'd have, like, cramping or just some, like, tightening or discomfort, and I'd be like, oh, it's going to start. And then it would never be consistent.
Yeah, one of the things she always did say was like, I have a lot of pressure down in my vagina.
Always a lot of pressure.
And I was like, what is that? What's that like? It's just like pressure.
Yes.
And I was like, is it like poop pressure or is it like gotta pee pressure? And it's like, no, it's just it's a different feeling.
Yes. Just think of like putting a baby's head down in your crotch area.
Oh,
like
I can't.
I know, but like think of that. Like you just had like a bowling ball, like
pressure.
Or tiny, like, bowling ball, like just sitting in your lower abdomen, just putting pressure on your pelvis. Like, yeah. I guess that's the best way to, try to describe it. But yeah. So then the Wednesday before we were scheduled to get induced, I went to the doctor. She stripped my membranes, which with Conrad, when she stripped my membrane, she actually broke my water, so we had to go in at that point. But so this time that didn't happen. If you ever have your membrane stripped, it's not the most comfortable experience, but it's not horrible. It's only a couple seconds. And I thought, okay, yes, this is going to be it. It's going to start moving along. I was 3 centimeters at that point and 50% effaced, which just means like your cervix is like shortening to get ready for like the baby, kind of coming in. And if you don't know, like dilation, you want to get up to 10 to have the baby. So I was at 3
for a couple weeks.
Like 2 weeks. And I feel like that's what I was similar with Conrad. I think maybe I was 4 by the time I went in, like at the end.
Yeah.
But things were like slowly moving, but like nothing was really happening. So then the Thursday that we had him, we were scheduled to be induced at 9 a.m. So we got there about 8, got up there, got everything, started, which means, getting an IV, just getting situated, blah, 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 blah.
Then it started the Pitocin.
Yep, which starts your body into, having contractions and
like labor.
I think it was a couple hours at least before I started like having a contraction, right?
Yeah, it was
an hour.
It was about an hour. They started you off really slow on the Pitocin.
Yep.
And then you also had to get some antibiotics in you. Yep. So they gave you the drip of Pitocin and antibiotics. Started around like probably 9-ish, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
8:30. 8:30. Yep. And then nothing like was really progressing. The monitor did show that she was having contractions, but they were pretty mild.
Yeah, I was feeling them because the nurse came in. She's like, "You're having contractions." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I know." And Jay was like, "You are?" And I was like, "Yeah, they weren't anything though. They were there, but." It's like, okay, yep, that's it.
Yeah. And then I think it was right before, no, it was around noon.
Yep.
I think when they started getting to the point where Molly was like, she was breathing like this. And I was like, okay, I think you need to get the epidural.
But the nurse had said, like, I'll be back at 12:30 and we'll likely give you the epidural because then we can start. I had to get 2 doses of antibiotics. We'll be able to start the second dose of antibiotics. And then after that, once you're comfortable, we'll break your water.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect. So I knew she was coming. I knew that that was the plan. So I was like, I'm okay. But I knew I was like, if she wasn't coming back, that's when I would have been ready for the epidural. I was like getting to the point where they were more painful.
She was squeezing my hand. Like when I noticed, like before she was able to kind of just manage it herself. And this was similar to like with Conrad, like she was able to manage it herself. But then the moment that she had to like hold my hand, or I had to kind of step in and intervene and hold her hand to give her a little bit of comfort, I was like, yeah, you might want to think about getting it. Yeah. So I was actually the one that was like, again, this time I was like, hey, I think we need to buzz the lady. And you're like, no, she's coming back. And then you like were going through a couple other contractions. I was like, I'm going to buzz the lady. And then you're like, okay, yeah, buzz the lady. So then I buzzed the nurse.
Did you do it at that point or was that later on?
No,
I don't
that
remember.
no, that was at that point.
Okay.
So then when the nurse came in, she's like, okay, we're going to call anesthesia because you were having contraction. And she was like, yeah, I have, a patient in room, but whatever. Can you page general or I don't know, OB anesthesia or something like that. And then so she's like, and then the nurse looked at me and she's like, have you had anything to eat yet? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, probably it's going to be a good time for you to go grab something to eat because this is going to take about an hour. So we'll have you step out when they come in. So then I was like, okay. So then that's when I said, okay, I'm just going to go grab some lunch and then I'll come back in about an hour. So I step out, but at this time, Molly is like, you were bouncing on the ball.
Yeah.
You're just like trying to, like the yoga ball, she's just like bouncing on it because it was kind of, I don't know, did they give you relief? I don't know.
I don't know.
It beat sitting in the bed though because you chose to sit on the yoga ball.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know that it helped. I don't know that it made a difference, but you are able to move a little bit, which I do think is helpful because like I learned that from Conrad. Like just sitting in one spot was not helpful. But like it hurts so bad that you're like almost afraid to move and you don't know what to do to like make it better. Yeah. So maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I stepped out and so I don't know what happened. I went to go eat at the cafe. And then when I came back, she was wrenching in pain.
So when I had Conrad, I was already 6 or 7 centimeters by the time I got the epidural. And because it was so painful and I was so far along, they did a spinal epidural, which is different than a straight epidural.
They call it like CSC or something?
Yes.
I forget what it's called.
So it's like just a different medication in the way that the medication's distributed. So the regular epidural is by gravity. And I wish I would have known that. So once the epidural's in, which I must not have, and this may be part of why it didn't work, spoiler alert, is maybe because of like how I was positioned. So they kept telling me to relax my shoulders, and I thought I was, like, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I think I am. And they're like, relax, and you're a little turned and whatever. And so, your spine has to be straight.
Pause.
But
that just triggered something in me. When you said I try to relax my shoulders, just had my mind thinking of when I tried to teach you how to do, like, the seal pose. And you're just like this. Relax your shoulders. I don't know how to relax my shoulders. Relax your shoulders. That just came to mind. Molly doesn't know how to relax any kind of muscles. Yeah. Anyways, go in.
So they numb you up, which is like the most painful part, and then they stick the needle in, which actually is still kind of painful. I'm sorry for anybody who's not had an epidural and is going to go have an epidural. It's not pleasant all the time. But so they had to readjust the needle, which again was not pleasant. And it's so weird because you can like feel what they're doing a little bit, and they're like, okay, let me know if you feel it on the left, the right, or the middle. And I'm like, the right. And then I was like, yep, I still feel it there on the right, because it was like not comfortable.
Yeah.
Like kind of still have a little PTSD from that. Anywho, so an epidural is by gravity. So once they were all done, they get it all taped up. I was laying on my left side and it was working. Like the left side was kind of getting numb. My leg was getting numb. The contractions weren't as bad, but I kept feeling it on the right side. And my nurse said, I'll come back in like 30 minutes. But if this is getting too bad on the right side, let me know because we'll flip you sooner than that. So I had to go back to the right side. So I think that's when you ended up being back. And I'm like, okay, just give it some time. It's going to work, And like I knew like I had to flip, but I was like, it was only a little painful on the right, so I thought, oh, okay, it's not too bad. But oh my God, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I was like, you better call her because I need to flip over.
What is it? So describe to me and also to the listeners, when you say the right side, what you could still feel it.
So like
did you tell your left vagina was numb and your right vagina was like, no, I feel like all this.
My lower abdomen. Like
lower abdomen.
Yes, your lower abdomen. Okay. So the left side was numb. My left leg was numb, like that tingly feeling, like when you're like your foot's asleep.
But the right side, you were still
feeling. But the right,
feeling.
I could feel everything.
Okay.
Everything. I could move that leg, everything.
When you kept saying, it's like, I still feel it. And then they came around with a glove full of ice and they were just like, can you feel this? And she's like, no. And then they like put it up here and then on her waist and you're like, yeah, I can feel that. And I was like, in my mind, I thought it was more so like your vagina that was numb.
No.
Like half of it was numb. I was like, how can just half of it be numb? Like, so it was in my mind. I was like, I don't even know what's freaking going on. But she's like the right side. She can still feel. I was like, I don't know. And everything was just so like sagittal.
Yes.
But anyways.
And up until this point, they haven't checked like how dilate I am because like it's working, right? It's whatever. It's not really something you have to keep checking. So I flip over to my right side and I'm like, okay, this is going to be fine. It's going to start working. I get it, right? Gravity. Okay, fine.
Not.
At first I thought like, oh, okay, maybe like a couple contractions. I was like, okay, maybe that's a little bit of relief. Oh, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And I could tell like my leg was getting a little tingly, like very minorly.
You kept saying that, yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It did not come. So then my nurse comes back in and she's like, Molly, let me check. Oh, I think my water broke at that point. I thought it did.
You thought you did. She was laying on her right side and she's like, guys, I think my water broke. And then like, okay, we're getting everything ready. We're checking.
Yep.
And then that was when.
But then I said, or I might have just peed.
Or just yeah. And then, but already at that time, she had already paid anesthesia to come back.
Yes, because it wasn't working.
So then another anesthesia resident or fellow came in and like started doing the tests and everything, and then they paged the actual anesthesiologist, and then they came back, and then Molly was like freaking just like not screaming, but you could tell she was in pain. And so side note, the reason why like. For me as a partner and as a husband, the worst part for me for like labor and delivery is seeing my wife in pain. Like that was the only thing. So when I saw her in pain, like I started feeling pain. I was like kind of emotional and kind of tearing up because I hated seeing her in pain. Yes, I love seeing like my son born and everything, which is amazing. But I hated seeing her in pain. So like when she was just screaming and she was like nothing, there was no relief with every contraction. I was just like, hurry the frick up and get her out of pain. Like what the frick are you guys doing? So then when anesthesiologists came in, they were moving fast.
They were moving fast.
And everybody was moving fast. Mm-hmm. Anesthesia was moving fast because they needed to get her numb. OB was moving fast because there was a point after that, Molly was like, he's right there. He's coming out. I have to push. They were just freaking gowning up.
Wait. We have to go back. So this was 12:30-ish that we said, okay, we need the epidural. They probably got in there about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Before that.
Before that, right?
Because as I was leaving, they were already coming down the hallway.
What time did you get back? Like
an hour later, 1:30.
So 1:30. Okay, so 1:30. Just time frame here, okay? 1:30. I'm laying on my left side.
Yep.
I flip over to my...
You're already sitting on your right side.
Okay, by the time you got back. Okay.
I got back.
So I'm on my right side, 1:30-ish, 1:45, right? And I feel my water break.
Yep.
I say this isn't working.
Yep. 2 o'clock, I looked at the clock. 2 o'clock, anesthesia were going back in, and the anesthesiologist was giving you that actual... She's like, I got more medications for you.
Yep.
It's like, tell me if this works, and they gave it around 2 o'clock-ish.
She checked me, and I think I was at 7 or 8.
Yeah, something like this. Probably 7. It wasn't as close to 10 as I thought it would be.
Yes,
so probably 7.
I think I was that way too. I was like, what? Because I was like, wait, I feel like... And my nurse kept saying, Molly, if you need to push, you need to let me know. Because at that point, anesthesia was just there.
Yep.
And they were just, trying to get me out of pain.
Yep.
When someone asks you if you need to push, that was such a loaded question to me because... Part of me was like, yeah, if you're going to give me the option, yeah, I need to push because I want this baby out. I'm over this.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to figure out, like, I don't know, what does this mean? When you see this on like the TV and stuff and they're like, oh, if, don't push or if you need to put, and you're always like, what is that? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's what that means.
I have to push.
I was like,
she kept saying, I have to push.
I think I have to push now. I think he's there. And so she checked me again and she's like,
Yep,
he's right there. And so that was 2 o'clock.
That was a little after 2 o'clock. But then when she checked you, she's like, yep, your water broke.
Yes.
And then she immediately called the OB.
Oh,
but
yeah,
then
but
your OB was in the operating room doing another
right.
C-section.
They called her saying, hey, this is going to, we're probably going to be here soon, just giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
And giving a heads up to the whole team that was maybe taking her spot or whatever because they were so busy that day, which we knew.
Yeah.
Side note too, that doctor did come in and like introduced herself in the beginning when I had barely any contractions, and she's like, yeah, so I'll anticipate like late this afternoon or early evening.
And I was like, she ain't gonna be.
Me and him, after she left, I said, that's not happening.
That's not happening.
We had this mindset going in as we're gonna get out of here as soon as possible, or have this baby as soon as possible, which like we were kind of joking, but at the same time it's just kind of funny now.
Yeah.
So we proved her wrong. We definitely had him way earlier than early afternoon, late evening, whatever. So at that point I'm like, yeah, I need to push. And so they got me back onto my back. Things are starting to like maybe ease up just a little bit at this point. Yeah. Because they just kept slamming meds.
Yeah. No, by the time they gave you the meds, the second set, and then they put you on your back, you were feeling more comfortable then. Because they wouldn't have put you on your back if you weren't comfortable.
Right.
And then so from my standpoint, all I'm seeing is that this barrage of people coming into the room.
I don't even know.
There was the OB's whatever
the
partner.
Resident. Oh yeah,
the resident who came and introduced herself. There was the CNA that was standing by.
Yep.
And then there was another OB partner that came in with another fellow.
Oh really?
Yeah. There was 4 OBs related people there. And right as she was about to like push.
Well, and I remember the one time they looked, they're like, oh yeah, the head's right there.
Yeah, right there.
When the resident was in, and I don't think any other OB people were in, she was like, oh yeah, the head's right there. And she just kind of stood there. I remember kind of seeing it and just kind of stood there and made sure he wasn't coming yet.
It in, yeah. Yeah. And then what did the nurse say? She's like, breathe it out.
Yep.
She's like, breathe,
blow it away.
Blow it away.
Yep.
And then so I'm just like, holy crap, like everything is happening. And this was about 2:10 to 2:12ish, right? So Molly, then once the OB got all like wrapped, like gowned up and everything, I think you may have pushed 3 times.
Well, and I think what's funny too is they're always like, once you get the epidural, you don't really feel the contractions, but they're like, okay, push on your next contraction. And I was just laying there, I'm like, I don't feel anything anymore.
Yeah. Well, they were watching the monitor too.
I know, but they don't really tell you or anything. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I started pushing, and I wasn't completely numb because I felt his head come out.
Yikes.
Yep. I could feel it.
Was it like a big turd? Is that what it feels like?
I don't even.
Like when you feel the turd just cresting your a-hole. Is that what it feels like, but in the vagina?
Well, things are tearing. I could feel that too.
Oh so my god! I can feel my butthole tear when I have a big log, so I know what that feels like. Just not 8 inches of head.
Yeah. But like, what's different is like a poop like comes out, right? Like it's not like this slow like progression.
Oh,
it's like
I've had the slow progression.
Well, yes, but it's not. No,
I get it.
It's peristalsis, so which I know your body's kind of doing that too. It's helping you like push the baby out also, but it's different. So yeah, I could literally feel, which was kind of a cool experience, I will say, to feel that, not great, but also kind of like looking back on it, it's like, oh, that was, cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Because you could feel,
nature.
Because it wasn't super painful, but I could feel part of things tearing.
Yeah.
Which was weird because of where I could feel it tearing was not where it tore. So it's like, like things were like just numb, when your perception's kind of off when something's numb.
Yep.
And I could feel like that he was right there.
He was right there.
And then pushing, and then just like the...
Yeah.
The
he
best,
shot out of there.
It was like perfect. It was like, oh, okay, I'm good. Because like that, once you get the head out, it's like, pretty much it. It's easy after that.
I like, not to diminish like OBs, but I watched them twice now. Like, I watched the whole thing. And you know what? Shout out to my freaking buddy Scott, who made fun of me for watching a childbirth. Like, you gotta watch that shit, man. That shit is the coolest fucking thing ever. Like, seeing a baby come out of like a human, like, that's the coolest shit. I don't think Scott watched his 2 kids freaking born. I watched his head crown and come out of your vagina. I thought it was the motherfucking coolest thing ever. But anyway,
I love every time they're like, "You want to reach down and touch your baby's
like,
head?"
Nope.
No. Do you want to watch? No. I don't want to see it.
You want me to turn on the or like shine the light or something like that?
No.
I was like, shine the light. I'll take a look at that shit.
Just like, first of all, this time I was feeling it, so no.
Yeah.
With Conrad, it was just like, this is all just a little too much. Like,
yeah.
You know, like,
I don't know. I thought she was a freaking trooper because like maybe 3 pushes, maybe 5 handful. That's it, and then Griffin just popped out.
Yep.
But the coolest thing was, and like I said, going back to my point, not to diminish like OBs, but I've already seen it twice and probably more times now that I think about it, and just like past like science classes. But once the head comes out, they have to rotate him downwards, right? And then they clear the shoulder. His shoulder wasn't clearing.
He was stuck.
He was kind of stuck. And so they
were like, come on, baby.
Yeah, they had to kind of like, I saw the resident's hand, like literally her fingers were gone inside your vagina. And I was like, where's her pointer? Like, it's gone. And then she was like kind of scooping the motion. So I think she was like scooping the other shoulder out. And then once his shoulder came out, he was facing down, right? And then they would deliver it like this. I can freaking deliver a baby. That's what I'm trying to get at.
They come out face down, don't they?
Yeah. So, well, when he came out on his side.
Yes.
Like, I saw his face.
Gotcha.
Conrad, I saw hit the back of his head.
Okay. Down.
I saw the top of his head. Like the back of his head. So he came out
down.
Face down.
Yeah, they're supposed. I remember learning like they should kind of come out down.
Yeah.
Down-ish. So side is better. Yeah.
He was on his side, and then the moment his head was out, they turned him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw them pull through.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the coolest thing ever, man. But then you're a freaking trooper. Like I said, it was like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of pushing, and then Conrad was born, or Griffin was born. Yeah. So I thought that was the freaking coolest thing. And then I guess then she did the skin to skin. So while she was holding Griffin, they were delivering the placenta. But it was the weirdest thing, and I didn't watch Conrad's when they were pulling the placenta out. You were bleeding more with Conrad than you were with him. Yeah, I think because even though I did see a lot of blood, like Conrad's, I just remember he looked like a freaking murderer.
They said that they were watching me a little bit to make sure I wasn't bleeding too much. I know that I bled way more with Conrad. Yes.
Yeah. But when they were delivering the placenta, I don't know, she was rubbing your belt, she was trying to massage it out. Was she massaging? Did you feel that, or is that already dead?
No, I could feel it.
You could feel it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because some people have said that delivering the placenta is almost just as, not painful, but the experience is almost just like.
Yep.
Because isn't what they call the second birth or afterbirth or whatever?
Afterbirth, I think they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when that shit came out, I was like, holy crap. I don't remember that last time.
Well, and I could see it.
It was huge. It was like a freaking dinner plate.
Yeah, I didn't see it with Conrad either, and I was like, whoa.
Let's make some pills out of that. Some people do that.
I know.
Or some people bring it home and bury it in their backyard. It's like some ritual stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that was pretty cool. 2:17 in the afternoon. Yeah. Literally pushed for 5 minutes.
The anesthesiologist I had was the same one I had with Conrad, which she didn't know that, which is whatever.
I think she did.
Did she?
Well, I think eventually she found out because when we weighed him, she was like, "Oh, he's gonna be bigger than his brother."
That's
she said that. So I don't know if she went back. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she went back.
But she was like, and my nurse, next time we get the epidural just a little sooner because I go so fast.
No, she also said
and
next
the other
time
one.
get the
I know
other
that.
one
Yeah,
that blocks
the
everything.
The double block because, and like looking back on it, I told you this, that redheads tend to have like harder
time to
like anesthesia and like pain medications and stuff. So it makes sense that way too.
Yep.
Like,
I tell that to all my redheads.
Yeah.
At work. So yeah, that was an adventure.
Yeah, and then we got out 24 hours later because we made them get us out 24 hours
Yeah,
later.
we would a 24-hour discharge, and we're like, hey, we're done, man. Griffin is healthy. All the tests went well.
Knock on wood.
So yeah, knock on wood. And we're like, let's get the F out of here. Okay, so I will say, from a dad's perspective, dads out there, if you are with your partner when they're giving birth, absolutely do not question the pain that she's going through, and just accept the fact that she is doing more than you have ever felt in your life as far as pain is concerned. Because nothing is more eye-opening than seeing a head crown in a vagina than anything else I've ever experienced in my life. So men should not complain about freaking pain and how they can, women are not as strong as men. Man, fuck that shit. Women got balls bigger than us as far as pain tolerance is concerned.
That's funny.
But yeah, and dads out there, watch your babies get born. I think it's the coolest thing. And like, it may, for some people, maybe it's not your thing because you don't like seeing blood or you don't like seeing private parts, which I don't know how you freaking made the baby. You like seeing private parts, but it was the coolest thing. So watch your babies born. And then also like cut the umbilical cord too. This time I was prepared.
Yeah, you were.
I got them the cord right at the freaking like edge of that scissors, and I one snip.
Yep.
Like with Conrad, I was like, I had to like almost saw that shit, and I was like, why is this thing so tough? And then I was like, give me a sharp scissors. I'm gonna cut this thing one time and one time only. I was like, and it came off. I was like, yes.
I gotta shout out this guy though. If you need pointers, if you're the dad or the significant other in the room, and you need pointers on what the hell to say or do, just come ask him because he is perfect. I remember when I was in that much, but you're just like, you got this, babe. And I told him later, I was like, I don't really know what you were saying, but I was hearing you, and I needed it at that moment. But don't ask me what you were saying. I know you were saying like you got this. But I don't even remember what else. But it was perfect. That's all I needed to hear. Because at one point,
this is temporary pain. I kept saying, this is temporary pain. This is gonna go away. Yeah, you got this.
The anesthesiologist, my epidural was on that side, so she had to like get in there and I remember being like, okay, come back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's like, I have to get behind you, because she had to turn on the fentanyl drip. Yeah. And then she was there, and then all of a sudden Molly's like, okay, come back. I was like, get the fuck out of my way. I was like, move. My wife needs me.
I remember at one point too, I was like, I just want my baby. Yeah. I was like over it. Yeah. I was like, I'm done.
You know what though? I think we really are blessed, and you are really blessed to have such quick labor and delivery.
Yes.
Because last time we were at the hospital for Conrad at 6, you delivered at 11:40 something. Yeah. For Griffin, we're at the hospital at 8:30. You gave birth at 2:17. So like 6 hours. Griffin or Conrad, same thing, like less than 6 hours, like 5. Yep. Almost 6 hours. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, we're blessed, and unfortunately, there's gonna be moms out there who are gonna have those very trying and long deliveries, in which we pray for you and we hope the best for you and your baby. Because we did hear in the room next to us, a mother have some complications during her labor.
Yeah, we're assuming that.
We're assuming
just from
that.
What
no, she did say like,
that. And then
said,
they asked for like an O. You could hear that they were asking for an OR.
OR, yeah.
So you always know that that's not the best.
Situation.
Yeah. So yeah, the things are just. That's why I said if this is triggering for you, or talking about birthing is triggering for you, just don't listen, because I know we're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to have had quick and easy deliveries overall, and really easy pregnancies. Yeah, and not everyone is that fortunate. And and maybe we should touch on this again a little bit more. Is I worked up. I was working out all the way. I mean, until the Tuesday before. We both didn't work out Wednesday.
Yeah. So hung out with Griff or Conrad.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm gonna get used to that.
And I think that has a lot to do with it too.
I think we should talk about that because I think some moms are maybe just not have that education, and they should seek out that education, especially if they do work out. Mm-hmm. Because I have seen that because you built up strength and you kept your fitness up, you didn't become lethargic or you didn't become complacent because you were pregnant.
Right.
That labor and delivery was a little bit more tolerable to some degree because you had built up like a mentality and a physical kind of strength in your body to withstand some of the pressure and the stress it was going to go through for 6 hours. You know what I mean? So I think we should talk about that eventually because I think some moms could benefit from continually work out or stay active during their pregnancies so that they don't have... There's
just a study done in Canada that says maybe fitness is good for pregnant women.
Maybe.
But it
is. No, it is.
One of those things where you had to pay for the subscription, so I didn't read the whole thing, but maybe I can try to find it just to reference
Tack
it.
On it. Yeah. This past week with Griffin has been amazing. He is night and day different than Conrad, our firstborn. He's just so chill. So chill. He eats, he sleeps, he poops. He likes to be held. He likes to sleep in his bassinet. He's such a good baby. And not diminishing what Conrad was, because I think Conrad prepared us for this.
Well, everyone always says your first is so easy, blah, 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 blah. Like your second one's going to be the hellion. God gives you an easy one first, so you want a second one.
Yeah.
And I always said, but everyone was like, Conrad's such a great kid. And he is. He's a wonderful kid. He, when people see him out at restaurants, they're always like, wow, you have such a good kid. So I'm not saying he's not a good kid. But I was like, he wasn't that easy. People just kept saying your first was easy. And I was like, but he wasn't that easy. Because he cried all the time.
He was colicky.
He didn't want to sleep. He never slept. Mm-hmm. He'd sleep for 30 minutes and that was it. I was literally just telling Jay today, I was like, wow, I could actually take a shower and enjoy the shower and not rush because the kids started crying, immediately as I got into the shower. And that's Griffin's doing that, allowing me to take a shower like a baby's supposed to be. So I had a feeling he was going to be like this, but I also was like, maybe I'm just blind. Maybe this is just how the babies are, or something. But
yeah,
we're very fortunate. And I do think, we were challenged a little bit with our first one, which isn't always the way it goes. But
yeah, I think that Conrad definitely made us more patient.
Yes.
And then now that we have such a good baby, it's like, man, we are very just spoiled, which we're very grateful and blessed to. Conrad's doing really good with Griffin, by the way. Yes. He's he tolerates him for a little bit, and then he's like, okay, yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna go do my own thing.
Today was funny though because we he came home from school. Jay went and picked him up, Conrad, and I was home and I had already laid Griffin down in his bassinet because I fed him and he was sleeping. So then we're eating dinner, and he was still sleeping. So me, Griffin, Conrad, Jay are playing in his little playpen, spending a little time together. And I was like, oh, I got to get Griffin up. It's time to eat. So I went and got him. And when Conrad turned around and saw that I was holding him, his whole body just went, he's still here. It literally, I really literally wish I got it on camera because he was all excited, happy, turns around, he's smiling. And then everything just drops, his shoulders, his head, his eyes, his smile, just,
he's still here.
That thing is still here. He wasn't, he came right up and said hi to him and whatever, but it was just so funny that it's he forgot and was shit.
Yeah. No, he's doing good with them too. I think it's just interesting because they're so close in age that it'll be nice to see how they get along or not get along. We'll see.
I think Conrad will like him when he starts like laughing at him and playing, interacting a little bit.
Yeah, for
sure.
I
think he'll have a lot of fun with that. But no, he's doing really good. He's figuring out gentle hands and, not poking too hard or touching too hard and things.
Yeah.
I think school helped with that a lot because they play with babies and talk about gentle hands and hugging and stuff. So
yeah. And I think that there's a lot about like teaching little kids how to be with babies because, they're going to interact with your friends' babies or your cousins' babies and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're trying to instill some good manners so that he takes care of his little brother as well. But yeah, it's been nice. Like he's somewhat of a predictable routine. Sleeps pretty good throughout the night. Wake him up to feed and everything. So we're hoping to fatten up this kid. Get him back up above birth weight and even more. And then hopefully just kind of let him sleep at night.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
Can't wait for another like 7-8 hours of solid sleep.
I'll even take 5 at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the story of our lives here last week. It's been awesome. Griffin, when he sleeps, he looks like Conrad. When his eyes are open, he looks like his brother, but not entirely.
You can tell they're siblings,
but
they're different.
They're different. So, but yeah, he was tiny. He was tinier than we thought he was.
Yeah.
When he was born, and I was like, I don't remember Conrad being this small, but he was. Griffin's was a little bit lighter than Conrad.
Almost a pound lighter.
But a good inch. Quarter inch longer. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been awesome. It's our great Christmas gift to our family. What's interesting is that Griffin was born one on Catherine, Molly's aunt's birthday as well, so they share a birthday. But also, our Griffin. Did I say Conrad? I gotta get these. Griffin was also born on the same day that my grandpa passed away 3 years ago, almost at the same time too. So then my dad was like, I think your papa helped Griffin come into the world and not put too much stress and hurt Molly. So it's like, oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
So that'll be something kind of like look back on and teach him about Papa.
I can see your Papa like up in heaven and like having pictures of them on his wall. Like he had you guys and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it was actually, that's pretty special. So, but yeah, we're lucky. And this Christmas season, there's a lot to be thankful for and celebrate. And, we can only hope and pray for everyone to have a good Christmas, good holidays with your families and with your friends. I know we'll have some, good quality family time as well and celebrate the holidays. But it's family of 4. Not terrible yet. We haven't ventured out into the world with the 2 boys together in tow, but soon enough, we just got to get through this tender period of a newborn, and then we'll go on adventures. So we're glad that you're on the ride with us, and if you've been listening to these episodes, thank you so much. This has been a great year of just celebrating life, and I think hopefully we can get one more episode in before the end of the year. Maybe our New Year's episode will film next week. Oh, we should think of New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, maybe that should be our next episode.
Yeah.
But it will be probably the last episode before the end of the year of 2023. And, looking back, starting this podcast, we don't know where this will go, but, it's been a great time conversing with my wife about random topics, since
Unscripted
February.
Conversations.
Yeah. So it's been good. I think this is episode 35. So yeah, we're proud of, what we've accomplished so far, and, looking forward to kind of keeping this going through the new year, and yeah, we'll see where it takes us. But I think if anything, it'll be a record for our kids to listen
Right.
and see how like mom and dad were kind of crazy.
A little
Talking
crazy.
about their births and everything. But yeah, any last parting words?
I don't think so.
No. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for being such an amazing mom and
Thank
a
you.
super trooper.
Thank you for being an amazing dad
I try.
and husband and supporter.
I try. That's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Alrighty, guys. This is the Unscripted Conversations podcast. My name is Jay.
And I'm Molly.
Thank you so much for listening. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Again, you know where to smash that bell button for your notifications. But if you don't smash that like button, I will come after you.
Don't be a
punk
bully.
you. Don't make me bully you. So do what you got to do. All right. Alrighty, guys. Have a good night. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Hope you have some good time with your families. And don't spoil Christmas for the little kids. Santa is real. Alrighty, guys. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.